So I don't know who knows who. So let Delara, I'm going to call you the new kid on the block.
Sounds
And
good.
let me first set the stage and why we're doing this. So my name's Fraser O'Leary, and we're in the process of something that we just started called Networking for Good, this Networking for Good Expo. But what's cool is that what's going on right now, in the morning we had networking, but in the afternoon we have workshops. So there are about 9 workshops going on right now on the website where people are watching. Oh, there's Liz. People are watching these recorded workshops on social media marketing and on building a high touch business, and on how to qualify, which I did not know. If you're a sole proprietor, that you can get group health insurance in Virginia, which is really cool. And we have somebody talking about using video and all these cool things. And so these workshops, we're going to put these all together into a package and make it available to people, and then have the proceeds from all the workshops and the transcripts and the videos, etc., go to community organizations that people nominate. We have this thing in Fort Hunt called the Community Entrepreneurship Fund, where we have students kind of review proposals, and they can be like a mini Congress and fund projects.
Sounds good.
So that's all these super cool things, but that's Networking for Good and Workshops for Good. But I wanted to thank you for Bonnie, and Liz just showed up. Hi, Liz.
Oh, no.
Oh, we had her for a second. Hold on, let me see. I think she's still here. She just probably turned off her video. And so thank you very much for coming. And Delara, you and I just connected recently. Thank you to Dan Rashan for referring you. Bonnie is as she said, she's a veteran of years in the Fort Hunt area, now Old Town. And Liz Lucchese, who's going to be showing up on video here in a second, is somebody that's been around and a super agent for a long time. And so the purpose of this was to ask you guys some questions and have you share some things that you've learned so that we can take this and share it with other agents. And part of this is, I'm sure you get that question all the time, right? You get the question of like, oh, what should I do? And what types of things should I not do, et cetera. And the truth of it is, sometimes it's hard to know who's going to take your advice and who it's going to be a waste of time to talk to. And so I just wanted to say, let's get together, let's share some ideas, share some strategies, share some secrets, and then you can decide who's worth having those follow-up conversations with, right? So without further ado, I'm going to assume Liz is sort of has some momentum in terms of being here. I can see you, Liz. I can see you're on the list, but I can't see your video. But Delara, why don't you introduce yourself? And just, basically what I wanted to do is just say sort of who you are, where you're working out of, and how you got into the business. And again, you're coming into it relatively recently, which is a great perspective.
Mm-hmm. So I'm Delara Wentz. I'm out of Keller Williams in Falls Church, Virginia, going just into my 3rd year in real estate. So I got into the business because I knew someone who was in real estate, and I had a sales background before. And then I was a stay-at-home mom, and my husband and I were living paycheck to paycheck, and we were over it. I was over it. We were in the middle of the grocery store arguing about buying cucumbers. So I said enough is enough and decided to do something else, and I'm here now.
Super. Bonnie.
Yes. Well, I've been in the business for about, I think, 16, 17 years. I'm with Compass. I just moved over about a year or so ago. And the way I got into it was we had done some renovations in homes and things like that, and I always liked decorating and thought that this would kind of be that, but obviously it wasn't. But then kind of just transitioned into, helping friends with stuff and then selling houses. And it just seemed like a natural kind of transition for me. and also I was re-entering the workforce.
So one first question is, what were things that you believed about being a real estate agent when you got started that maybe turned out to be different or not? I mean, what were just some of the things that you believed about being a real estate agent when you started out?
Well, I thought that it was going to take less time. I thought it was going to be a little bit easier, a little bit less expensive to be an agent. But, it's just, you see people that do it. And I know even people that don't sell real estate think that, oh, this looks really easy. I think I could do this. And it's not anything like you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I thought I would get in the business and make a ton of money up front. And I mean, you watch, HGTV and stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so easy.
Right. Yeah, they don't even bring anything to the listing.
No, I know. Like, they don't even sign papers. You just make a phone call and
Right.
that's it. So,
Right.
but yeah, I thought it was going to be really easy. I definitely thought that I would probably only sell like one home every other month or something like that. So, and that I would be rolling in dough, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think you can make up your own hours too. And
yes.
you find out you're pretty much 24/7 as far as people getting in touch with you. And, there's emergencies or somebody has to see a house or, there's a flood in a house that you're listing or, things seem to always kind of happen. So
for those people who don't know you, both of you, share a little bit about, what's your sort of, I mean, I don't know what the term would be. I mean, I know people are top producers this or $1 Million Club this or whatever, but like, where are you on the spectrum of activity in terms of other agents? If you could do that modestly, I mean, whatever you want to say,
Yeah, I mean, I think it first of all, it changes every year because January comes around and you go back down to zero.
Nothing.
It's one of the few jobs I think that you, hey Liz.
Hey, I'm here.
So it's kind of an interesting occupation because you could make, sell millions and millions of dollars of real estate every year, and every year it's different depending on the market, depending on kind of where you are in your life and things like that. So, I mean, I guess I've been pretty consistent in that I'm a top producer, but it kind of depends on who you're comparing me to as well. I mean, yeah, it's just, I'm pretty comfortable with what I end up doing.
I guess I'm just trying for agents to think like, do I sell a one house a year? Do I sell 1 million houses a year? Whatever something that if agents are watching this, they can be like, oh, okay, that's sort of there.
Usually like units and volume, probably.
Okay, so Delara, what kind of units and volume, where are you on the spectrum?
So I always say my first year, and then I'm finishing out my second fiscal year. So my first fiscal year, I did 30 units for just under 10 million in volume. This year, I'll probably do 50. I'm at 13.5 million right now with another 6 million under contract. So I'll probably finish out the year at 20 million. So my second fiscal year at 20 million.
Are you part of a team?
Good for you.
No, ma'am.
Seriously.
I created my own team.
Oh. Okay. Good for you.
Yes, that's I mean, this is like we have interesting perspectives, right? Like we should probably almost do a separate one of like, wow, how do you go from arguing about cucumbers in the safe way?
You can say my husband's pretty happy now, so
you buy as many cucumbers as you want.
Exactly.
So Liz, I'm sorry, and so we were just before you got here. Hi, welcome.
Hi, sorry about my Comcast issues.
No worries.
You're coming in clear now.
If you want to you can slam Comcast on this. We'll make it an in-kind commercial.
It's a whole bigger issue than Comcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we asked a couple questions. One was, how did you get into the business? Just sort of like, hi, I'm Liz Lucchese, and here's who I am and how I got in the business.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth Lucchese, and because my website is Liz Luke, I've done it to myself, and that's okay. You can call me whatever you want as long as you buy and sell a house. I don't care. But that does help people understand. I'll answer. I just don't care. I became a realtor in 2002. Child 1 and 2 were born in 03 and 04. So I became a realtor in 2002 officially. After September 11th, I would work out in the morning between 6 and 7 and be at National Airport working for my very high-end apartment community builder by 7:30 to 7:40. After September 11th, my life fundamentally changed, and Dave and I decided that it was better for me to be local because we were ready to start a family. When Jim was born, I started showing houses 16 days later. When Harper was born, we showed houses together 3 days later. I've been a realtor for just over 16 years. My first real, legitimate, full, I worked for a very high-end apartment community builder funded by GE. So at that point in time, I knew that if you are good at a lot of things, you're dropping a lot of balls. So in May of 2008, I created, I'm not a brokerage within a brokerage. I hired people on the Liz Luke team who were really, really good in the marketing tranche, really good selling, and really good administratively. And I'm really good at negotiating contracts. I'm really good with meeting clients. I'm really good when I have time with my husband and my kids. And you do not want to see me inputting a listing in the MLS. I make no advancement for my clients when I'm hanging up directional signs. I make no advancement for my clients when I'm meeting with stagers. So we have a very acutely divided system. It's not always easy, but it's very simple. If you're an operations person, you're doing the operations of the Liz Luke team. If you are good at selling and helping people solve their problems, you're going to be selling with me. And if you're really good on the marketing side, you're going to be marketing the heck out of my listings and out of the brand. That was in May of 2008. I can tell you the house, I can tell you the date, and I can tell you the amount of tears that were shed. I'm the last of 5 children, and I don't easily cry. But I was working about 20 hours a day and doing about $9.5 million in real estate. In 2007 and 2008, it doubled, and it's been a pretty wonderful growth path since then. So
thank you.
There you have
no,
it.
That's perfect. You got us all caught up. That's great. Let me ask everybody this question. Can you pinpoint an aha moment? Can you pinpoint a moment where you were going in one direction and you had an insight, somebody gave you an insight, an epiphany, whatever, and it really, you could sort of trace it back to that? Just curious.
You're only as good as your last real estate transaction. If you're not working relationally, you might as well just open up your checkbook and write big fat checks to Zillow and all those other money wasters, money grabbers. I knew a long time ago that if you worked relationally and asked for the business of the people who are your biggest and strongest advocates, you will continue to grow. That all started at 15 Groves on May 15th, 2008, when I had my little cry session. So my United States Naval Academy naval officer husband, who's never done business a day in his life, said, okay, let's talk this through. This is what you did when you were with JPI. This is what you want to do. What's getting in your way? And I'll let everybody else talk.
I don't think I had an actual epiphany or anything like that. There's times where you know, I know that things are moving great, but I think you're right, Elizabeth. I think that you're only as good as your last transaction, and it is all relationships and you know, who, you know, staying in touch with people and things like that. It's really pretty basic.
And you have to grow. Yeah, I mean, right now we're all running around with our hair on fire. Every one of us.
This is such a different, you know, time, obviously. That,
yeah, and so much of it is the conversation we're having here.
mm-hmm.
And how is that showing up every time we pick up the phone or text one of our clients?
Yeah.
We have to be, to me, it is my American duty to continue real estate. This is this is what's keeping our economy alive.
That's for sure, yeah.
Every deal we do means $50,000 into the local economy. It's our obligation.
Interesting. Yeah.
Think about it. Title, insurance,
mm-hmm.
mortgage lending,
appraisal,
our painter,
yeah.
our flooring contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've kept my contractor pretty busy, and his guys, and you're right. It all rolls every direction.
Delara, do you have any, I mean, you've been in the business relatively recently, but do you feel like you've had, I mean, I don't know if you get to have an aha moment at the beginning.
Not really yet. Everything is an aha. I'm very education based, so any sort of seminar I can get to or anything like that. My business is almost 100% referral based. I don't pay a single dime for leads. The only thing that I'll do is send out a gift card to some clients to just say thank you and things like that. That's, but literally just touching my database. So usually we have, the biggest thing was client events, I think, for me at the beginning. So once I was able to make some money and be able to afford having my clients out and about and all together and, you know, networking with them and things like that, that was my biggest thing thus far. But since COVID, we were supposed to do a winery event and COVID happened, and so everything shut down. So about a month and a half in, I got in contact with some of my clients who are photographers and paid for all my clients to have front porch sessions. So took the money that was going to go towards that winery event, and so everyone has these cute little front porch photos now. So client events were probably my biggest aha, but I don't think I get to have like a real aha right now. So
It's a great idea, though. I like that a lot. Let me ask this question. And Liz, this kind of reminded me, or I'm sorry, Elizabeth, when we were talking a couple months ago, you were talking about different agents and, you know, how people are and professionalism inside the Beltway, outside the Beltway, et cetera. But it made me think about, and you were talking about how great your team is. And so it made me ask the question, what qualities, when you see them in an agent, make you think that's somebody that I'm going to bet is going to be successful? And maybe the reverse, you know, you meet all these agents and presumably they all want to be successful, right? They all would like to be successful. And you might even, you know, if you have even somebody in your office, you might root for them. But what makes you bet on somebody? And I'll start with you, Elizabeth.
They're humble and they're hungry. And if you can ask, I'm 53 years old and I've got a little scar tissue behind me now. I'm looking for somebody who can authentically articulate their why. And you learn through trial and error. We are only as good as our names in the marketplace. And it's fascinating how people don't return phone calls, how people are just out and out, like non-communicative.
Rude.
Okay. But on the flip side, you know, it's job security, Bonnie.
Yeah.
It totally is.
Yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
you know what? Just pick up the phone and just say, you know, I'm slammed. Thank you so much for the opportunity to tour the house. It's not the right one for my client. When I come up for air, I'll give you specifics why.
Yeah.
Boom, done. Just
Exactly.
be responsive.
Yeah, and then there's also those agents that, you know, don't fill out most of the contracts when they send you an offer and things like that, which kind of give you an idea that either they don't know what they're doing or they don't want to know.
They don't care, but
Yeah.
that's okay because our obligation is for our principal of the real estate transaction, and if that is our ready, willing, and able offer, we're going to work it.
Yeah, yeah. No, you know, and it is interesting because you can see, you know, people that are humble also, I think, and just they want to learn things. They want to soak things up and, you know, don't feel that, you know, they're so important or anybody so important except, you know, obviously your clients. But, you know, you want somebody that has some attention to detail and just is a people person, I guess, you know, for selling real estate. I mean, obviously you have other people when you're, you know, if it's admin or, you know, marketing or things like that.
Well, I'd be interested, Delara, you probably have a lot of people coming up to you because of your, you know, your sort of fast success, right? Like, I mean, obviously you're working your butt off, but it's like people who maybe started out with you a year ago are like, wait, what? How'd that happen? And they're probably, you know, seeking the secret of your success, et cetera. What do you, when you're looking at your peers, your young peers, your new to real estate peers, what are the qualities that you're like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna work out for you, kid?
So I get approached a lot with the question of like how you're doing it, and there's no secret to it. Like I hustle. Like I'm up at 6 a.m. and I don't go to bed. Like last night I was writing offers until 11 o'clock. Like I didn't get home from showing property until 7. So I say it's the people who think everything's just going to fall in their lap. Like when you're telling them to do things, like I'm a mentor now in my brokerage. And if I tell someone to do something and they don't do it, then there's no point of having the second conversation. If you didn't do what I told you to do the first time, like we're just not going to have the follow-up conversation because there's nothing to follow up on. But that's really it. It's just like the people who want things to fall in their lap. Like there's no, like you're not going to succeed in real estate. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bad agents right now getting listings and stuff, and they have no idea what they're doing with them. And it's just because that's the way the cookie crumbles right now. Like you have a friend who knows a friend and cool, they just use them, and then you're the agent on the other side and you're like, hi, like I'd love to write an offer on your home. Is there anything that I need to know? And they're like, no, it's just send it over. Like, okay. Like I mean, my clients would really like to buy this house, so I kind of need to know more than that. So, and then you get the awesome agents who like you want to do every deal with. And it's as a new agent, and you know, I did 30 transactions my first year, so I've kind of seen some good and some bad. I don't think I've seen the complete bad and the most amazingness, but for the good agents, I just
you haven't done a deal with Bonnie. Just you wait.
I hope you're talking about the right side of the equation.
Right, the goodness.
The goodness is it's the people who have either a team where they're like, I have a transaction coordinator now, and people love that we're in full communication with each other throughout the entire transaction. And I got that idea because one, that was someone I needed to hire, so it wasn't on my computer all the time, but because it just makes everything go so smooth. And I would love to be that team that I did the other deal with, you know, who I didn't have to stumble to get any paperwork, or that it got delayed closing because someone wasn't doing their job or something like that. So, but that's really, I mean, the biggest thing that I tell people is you won't be successful in real estate if you think it's going to come to you easy. My stuff came to me easy, but I was purposeful about what I was doing.
Intentional.
And being intentional about it. I mean, my first client came from Panera, and it was because I perked up my ears, you know, when he asked me what I do for a living, and I was 2 weeks into having my license, and I said, I'm in real estate. And he said, funny story, I got to sell my house because I'm getting divorced. So met with him on Thursday and listed his home. But I mean, I helped him paint his house. I helped him paint his house and everything, but I hustle hard, and if you're not willing to hustle, you're not going to make it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I have a follow-up question. I mean, not a follow-up question. I guess we'll call it maybe the last question, unless something else pops up. And Delara, you don't get to answer this question. This is for Bonnie and Elizabeth. What, how has your business changed? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just, where have you made changes and you're like, yeah, this is better. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go first, Bonnie? I've got one, but you can go first.
I mean, obviously I moved to Compass, so that was a change, and technology and everything like that is really good there. I mean, you could have them do kind of, if you don't want to hire a transaction person, they'll do it for you and things like that. But I think that, I mean, it's just a different world kind of from 5 years ago. I feel like it's, you still have the same relationships. I mean, a lot of my business is past clients or referrals too. And it's just interesting that, you have somebody that you don't think you're going to kind of ever hear from again. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, I need to, sell this, or, I want to buy this. And, you try to keep in touch, but, not everybody's, great at it. And in this day and age, it's not like you could say, let's have coffee or meet up. So it's a different world, but I think I think everything's kind of a learning experience. So, just kind of go with the flow a little bit, but you do what you have to do. I mean, showing properties these days with masks and your glasses and fogging up and sweating out there and stuff isn't great, but it's your job. So.
Elizabeth?
Search engine optimization.
That's true.
I mean, another thing too is, with a little mileage behind me, I call it the jackass radar. It's gotten to the point now where, Bonnie, you know it.
I know exactly what you're going to say. Yeah.
Time is your most precious commodity.
Yep.
And when you sell 100 houses a year, 65 houses a year, and any point in between there, I had a settlement this morning where nothing's going swimmingly with the excuses of COVID and the reasons of COVID that are all incredibly valid. Everybody's working from their basement. Everybody is.
Right.
But I love the clients who offer grace. And all they know is we're trying, and they're trying, and not everybody is perfect.
Right.
We're working optimally. And I had an opportunity yesterday to tell a client transferring with his employer that I use the relocation company as my excuse that I wasn't going to be able to help him.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Sometimes you have to fire your clients.
And it was freeing. It was freeing because there was distinct recall of arduous filter he put us through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely those people, and I think the more, I mean, obviously everybody's attuned differently, but the more you are in this business, the more you can read people, and the more it clicks right away where, like, this is not going to be a happy ending kind of thing. And,
it's a partnership.
Yeah.
And if people aren't on board with the two-way street, I mean, we're offering a service.
Right.
It's not just a transaction. It's not just a transaction. Right. People are moving because they're sick. Yeah. They've gotten a divorce. They've had a baby. They've lost a baby. Goodness knows. They've lost a spouse. They're changing jobs. There's another life-changing event that's affecting their decision-making.
Right.
And we can help them solve their problems.
Right. And it's stressful to move, obviously. I mean, that's not that's a given. But I think that, there's some people that, nothing's their fault. And then there's other people that understand that, you know, things happen, you're doing the best you can. And we all have the same goal. So.
Well, guys, thank you very much. If you are interested, you can pop over to the faculty lounge and meet some of the other people who are speaking.
Do I have to do push-ups because I was late?
Yes, you do, because there's donuts and coffee in there,
Laps.
so you're gonna have to earn that. But if you're interested, then you can go and over on the website, there's a link to the faculty lounge. You just have to click on one of the workshops. But there's a bunch of workshops too, and the other speakers are here. And then at what time is it now? So at 2:30 we have our second panel, and you're welcome to come in and pop in and watch, or we'll send you the link afterwards. But
Okay.
Thank you very much for taking some time out, and I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Great to
Bye,
see
guys.
you guys.